As we begin to close into the end of 2021 and the final updates for No Man's Sky, Emergence has dropped with another surprising expedition update, and I have the review right here in the LZ. Fellow travelers, you have burrowed into the LZ. Thank you so much for stopping by for my review of the Emergence 3.70 update for No Man's Sky. As I mentioned, we're closing into the end of the year, and Emergence is sort of handing us off to the final update or updates of the year for No Man's Sky. I say that because the current expedition is running a total of 5 weeks, if the website is to be believed, carrying us into the final week of November. And if I had to speculate, that'll be when the final update of the year drops, probably a content update of a certain size. But anyway, you're here to find out about the Emergence update and kind of my thoughts on it, and for the most part, I want to say that it's been a positive experience. I have gone on record saying that I have enjoyed the expeditions in the past. They have been some of the more engaging updates, and if you were here for my Frontiers review, you know that I was a little disappointed in the scope of that update, but really, this is an Expeditions update, so we're going to review that just on its own merit. First things first, without a doubt, the marquee aspect of the update was a huge overhaul to worms. And honestly, aside from the lack of the grind that this expedition has versus other expeditions in the past, the worms have been just a delightful experience. Even annoying at times, which I say that in a positive way. I look for, aliens and creatures and species to be a little more pesky. But I never died to any, but I did get ejected almost into space once or twice, just because of how, large they are. I've almost steered my ship into them as I wasn't paying attention, and one jumps out of the earth and sort of in front of me. It has been a sort of extra amazing experience, oddly. The first planet that the expedition puts you on was just kind of a treat, right? I at some point, you're starting to see 4 or 5 or 6 worms simultaneously jumping into the sky. It was quite a spectacle, and I'm playing on PC as well, so it didn't really do anything to my rig. Check the description below for the system specs for my gaming laptop that is a Strix Scar 15. That's the footage that you see here. And overall, the gigantic worms being more than once jumping into the sky at any given moment is a great improvement that I hope the game keeps going forward. Before this update, it was really super rare to just see giant sandworms. I think I might have encountered one once or twice before, sort of in passing, which, I don't really like. I don't like that they're that rare. I know certain things could have a certain aspect of rarity to them, because that would kind of make them better and more fun to discover. But when it comes to sort of giant spectacles like these, I really think that they should shine bright, and I think that these things should show and be more prevalent. I mentioned it already, but another positive to this particular expedition is it's not super grindy with dumb, mundane things that expeditions before it has been. I do appreciate that this particular expedition is more than just doing the things you already do in the game that are mundane to kind of just persist in this world. I don't particularly like that about the previous expeditions, even though in general they were pretty nice. These items and these sort of targets were more specific to the worm lore and things like that. I think that was definitely better. It was not without its sort of dumb, grindy things, right? One of them I remember was, hey, take 3,000 footsteps while it's a superheated storm. Like, I could probably guess that they were trying to think that you were going to reach that sort of organically in your playtime throughout the expedition, but it's just kind of grindy, and I just think it was a bit much. One other of the goals had you, for whatever reason, digging up bones. I don't know why that was necessary. It felt like it was taking me off of pace and off of focus of the general mission, but whatever. It wasn't that huge. It wasn't a huge problem. It was, here, get 16 bones and then be on your way. but that really didn't contribute to sort of what I thought the lore and the overall guiding principle of this particular expedition was. Other than that, most of the goals were pretty focused towards worm-specific things. They added a lot of new assets, sort of like a mini boss battle with fighting several smaller worms at a time. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I thought that was great. And then, of course, I want to close with one thing that I think is just a glaring problem that might put some folks off if they are maybe jumping into No Man's Sky new, or if they've perhaps maybe been putting off playing expeditions before. I think this is the best expedition out of all of them, but collectively, all of the expeditions have one gigantic flaw that I think Hello Games really needs to pay attention to. These expeditions are designed to sort of bring characters and players together, and through crossplay, that's really nice. However, these missions in these expeditions, they do nothing to help organically bring the characters together, or players together to play together, right? To group up and be a team or do something gigantic as a whole, right? It's super unfortunate because you are sort of ushered into these smaller spaces together, but the game doesn't encourage you to do things together. And I know that the game has the community missions and things like that, but even then, that's just sort of individuals contributing towards an overall progress bar and not really being encouraged to do these things together. In a way, No Man's Sky goes out of its way to try to do things like Destiny, right? Having kind of a hub world that is the anomaly, and then certain world instances and things like that. Then when they pop up, the players are like, hey, let's go do this together. And it kind of happens organically without players really needing to do it. Or needing to put any effort to sort of team up. Imagine if those sort of smaller worms that pop up that you have to kill to get various items. Imagine if characters and players had to do that together. I don't know why I keep saying characters for some reason. That's a weird thing for a Sunday. Imagine these worms being super beefy and needing a lot of damage to kill, and it needs several players to team up to make these things happen. And these are instances that could sort of automatically pop up around the planet in any given moment, alerting all the players in that particular system to come together and fight those worms. Just to throw out a suggestion, or, I generally don't like to complain about a thing without presenting what I think might be a good, reasonable solution. But yeah, I think going forward, if we're going to continue to do expeditions, I really want to see a lot of these missions sort of help players come together and do things as a group. Or at least certain parts of them, right? It is not enough to me that these players exist sort of simultaneously in this universe. It feels like a wasted effort when they're not being sort of systemically and organically brought together to do things together. The functionality is there for them to come together, but that's really only just if they decide they want to, or if you have that one friend or two that you play No Man's Sky with. Overall, this expedition was a pretty great experience. I do like that it was very less grindy. I do like the spectacle of the giant worms being way less rare now, and the sort of conclusion was pretty nice. I really wish Hello Games would work harder to sort of bring players together during these expeditions in sort of a functional way. If we're going to sort of do a Destiny type foundation for No Man's Sky now, I would like to see some of those features to help bring players together to make them work together. That would be super useful and really entertaining. But I want to hear from you in the comment section. Did you enjoy this expedition, or has this gotten you to play No Man's Sky or expeditions for the first time? Please let me know down below. If this video helped you, please leave a like as well, and subscribe to stick around for more No Man's Sky coverage in the future. See you in the next one.